Hello, welcome to the Belk on Business podcast. This is Josh Belk, and I appreciate you joining the show today, and I hope to provide value to you on this episode. If you do get value out of this episode, please do me a huge favor and make sure to subscribe to this podcast. And if you're on Apple Podcast, leave me a 5-star review. Thanks again for listening, and enjoy the show. On today's podcast, I want to talk a little bit about growing leaders and teams. I am really big on leadership, as I mentioned in prior podcasts, and one area in my own business and when I work with clients, I really want to try to encourage them to grow themselves, but also to grow those leaders that are around them, and then also those individuals on their team. And so if your leaders around you are growing, if your team is growing, your business is growing, you're going to get to the point of success and success in perpetuity. But just a few thoughts here on growing leaders in your business and also the team members in your business. And I hope this will be a little bit of a help to you. Maybe just pull the trigger on a few things maybe you want to implement in your business. First of all, have a culture in your business of an always be learning. Okay, to have this kind of always be learning culture in your business. I think it's wonderful when I see my team members here in my business, when I know that they're listening to podcasts, I know that they're reading maybe books that may help them in their work to help us as a team increase value to our clientele, to be able to increase or improve the culture of our business. That really encourages me as the owner of the business. But you want to have, and you want to also provide for your business and those that work in your business avenues to where they can grow themselves. But have this always be learning culture. In my office and in prior podcasts, you probably you'd see behind me, and you see a lot of books, and it's always one of those things. We're having conversations about what books we're learning. What books we're reading, what podcast are we listening to, and what books are we listening to, and who are we listening to, and trying to encourage each other through what we're listening to and what we're hearing. But have that culture in your business. If you have that culture in your business that you're not threatened by others in your business, they may learn more than I do. I love it when my team members learn something that I don't, or they can bring value to a client in an area that I can't. And I know that they're learning and they're lifting their own lid of leadership and of their knowledge. Number 2, regularly be analyzing processes and improve those processes when they're needed to be able to increase the efficiency in your business. So you're going to be growing in your business. The leaders in your business are going to be growing. Your team members will be growing if they're always looking at those processes and thinking about ways that the process can be improved. And of course, this is going to come through maybe sometimes through networking, through things that they read, things that they listen to, maybe even working alongside other like-minded business owners and how are they doing things in their business. Getting in mastermind groups, one area where you really can learn that there are some areas in your business that you can improve. And so a leader in the business should always be looking at their processes and saying, okay, there's some way that I can improve this particular process in my business. Number 3, always be looking forward toward future possibilities. So many people, and it's unfortunate, they get stuck in their prior mistakes, or they get hung up on the mistakes of others in their business. Guess what? We're all going to fail in some avenue of our businesses. We may have had businesses in the past that have failed. I know for myself, there are certain clients that I failed and I haven't done well. But if I dwell on that, I'm never going to move forward in my business. So you should always be learning, but you should always be looking forward to future possibilities. So you learn from your mistakes. And within a mastermind recently, and the gentleman that heads up the mastermind, he said the best way to learn is to learn from other people's mistakes. But I think sometimes maybe it's the best learning comes from our own mistakes. We go through and we make mistakes, we learn from them, but we can't dwell on them. So if we're going to be growing as individuals, yes, we need to learn from our mistakes, but we also need to look forward to those possibilities. I'm going to take from the failures, the things that I have learned from those failures, and I'm going to say, you know what? Here's a possibility. Here's an opportunity that I have from the mistakes that I've made in the past. And so when I go through and maybe I'm advising a client, for example, and maybe the advice that I give, maybe it wasn't a success for them. I should be able to look at that and say, okay, you know what? I learned something from this that maybe I can go in the future to be able to help a client, or even beyond that, I can see some of the failures of others, some of the mistakes of others, and be able to develop something that can be a help to a wider audience. Number 4, operate an abundance mindset. I think it's key if we're going to grow as individuals that we don't operate from a position of scarcity, but we operate from a position of abundance. I just finished reading a book, and I highly recommend this book to just about anyone. If you're a parent, if you're in a position of leadership at all, I think this is a phenomenal book. It's called Mindset, and it has to do with the psychology of success. Carol Dweck, I believe, is the author, and she talks a lot about mindset in this book. Obviously the title of the book, but I think it's the best written book that I've read on this concept of mindset. If it's an area that you struggle, if you can't get past your past mistakes, if you're constantly dwelling on your failures, you can't seem to get your team pushed forward, you can't get yourself pushed forward, get to that point of an abundance or growth mindset, this is a book I would encourage you to read. It's a ton of information that I think would be valuable to you. But operate in that abundance mindset. There's plenty there. I have clients sometimes that they kind of get stuck into, there's not a whole lot of opportunity out there. And I want to look at them and say, there's plenty of opportunity out there. You just have to find it. You have to get outside of yourself and begin to discover it. And then lastly, number 5, effective leaders have 4 C elements. So when we talk about a growth mindset, we talk about growing as leaders, growing our team members. If I'm going to be an effective leader, there are 4 different areas, 4 different, I'll call them C's, 4 different C's, all of them obviously start with the letter C, that you want to look for. Number 1, creativity. So if I'm looking to hire someone or promote someone, or if I'm looking at myself, if I'm going to be an effective leader, I need to be creative. I need to see new possibilities with the ability to analyze and develop plans to be able to execute. So in my business, I'm the owner, I'm the visionary in my business, but I need to be creative. I need to see the opportunities. I need to be able to also develop a plan to be able to execute it. Secondly, communication. Communication is key in any business. If I'm going to grow as a leader, if I'm going to grow my team members, I'm going to grow the leaders around me, I have to be able to effectively communicate, to be able to converse in a way that builds and maintains good working relationships with my team members, with the people that work alongside me, my vendors, my customers. Next, be able to deliver from a point of clarity, to be able to be clear in the way that I communicate, be able to explain complex topics in a way that are easily digestible and practical to the listener. And then lastly, as a leader, if I'm going to grow, I need to be consistent. So I need to be consistent in the way that I treat people. I need to be consistent even in the way I deliver. And so I need to be consistent in the value that I bring. I need to be consistent with my customers. I need to be consistent with my team members and leaders that are serving alongside me. So if I'm going to grow as a leader, if I'm going to grow my team, just a few thoughts that I hope brought some value to you. Have a wonderful day.